Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Day 3 of the Education 2.0 conference. It's the last day, and we're very excited that you're all here. I hope you had a lot of networking and learning opportunities the last few days of the conference, not to mention you've been a great audience to connect with as well. Sincere appreciation to our Platinum sponsor, Leadership Masters, for making this event possible. Your ongoing assistance is greatly appreciated. Without further delay, let's get started with the first session of the day. We all know that children are influenced by their environment, whether it be at school or at home. When we nurture children with positivity and empathy, we teach them important life lessons, such as how to accept others who are different from them or handle conflict without resorting to violence. During this fireside chat, the speakers hope to start a fruitful discussion on this less discussed topic, today's schooling mantra, nurturing children with positivity and empathy. Please welcome our speakers, Ipek Williamson, founder and owner of Ipek Williamson Coaching, and Leslie Lucy, founder of Orange Tree Christian Preschool.
Thank you so much for having us here. I'd like to first introduce Ipek. And Ipek was born in Istanbul, Turkey, where she spent the first half of her life before moving to Canada. While she started a family and became a mother and successful executive assistant, she continued the same career in Canada for another decade while she navigated life, raising a son as a single parent. After finding the love of her life and marrying him, Ipek made serving and guiding others through her coaching and teaching meditation her life's work. Her mission statement is bringing the world closer to calm, one beautiful soul at a time. She is an insight coach, meditation advocate, and teacher, speaker, and author of the children's book, Little Fauna is Loved, Safe, and Never Alone, and also the book titled, Live Your Life in a Meditative State.
Thank you,
So
Leslie.
wonderful.
Thank you. And I would like to introduce you. Leslie is born and raised in Southern California, and her gift of childcare emerged at a very young age. For Leslie, caring for children was a way of life, not a profession. It wasn't until age 35 that she realized her true calling. At that time, she took a leap of faith, left the medical profession, went back to school to receive her early childhood education. While raising 3 kids, she opened her first school and created a reproducible teaching system. She's now and has been for over 15 years equipping children for life through the Orange Tree teaching system. She is a certified mental wellness coach and is recognized for being instrumental in changing the way we do preschool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today. And our topic is an important one. But before getting to our topic, I would like to invite you to a short meditation practice, if you are okay with that. So let's close our eyes, please. And take a deep breath in. And let it out slowly. Take another deep breath in. And let it out. While taking a third deep breath in, focus on your heart space and see a golden light appearing there, right in your heart. And see it starting to grow. Grow upwards and downwards in your body. Just growing and growing. And now covering all your body. You are made of light right now. That golden light now continues to grow and start to fill the room. Your golden light reaches the person closest to you right now in this room. It grows and grows. All the golden lights come together and get stronger. Now see that big, powerful golden light growing further and covering this whole building. And growing further, covering the whole city of Las Vegas. This golden light is so powerful and so beautiful that it starts to affect everybody in this city. And then it grows and covers the whole state of Nevada, then whole country. This beautiful golden light continues to grow and cover the whole North America and starts to grow further and covers all the continents and oceans. And now find yourself looking at Earth from the space and see the whole planet brimming with the golden light that you created. It's so beautiful, so peaceful, so powerful. You did that. You created that golden light. Now, come back to the room. Come back to your body. Take a long, deep breath. And while exhaling, slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. I would really love if you take a moment and think about what you felt, what you thought during this meditation, and make a note of it, because we will talk about it at the end. So let's get to our topic now. Nurturing children with positivity and empathy. I want to let you know what are we gonna cover. First of all, we're gonna be covering creating nurturing relationships, and then making positivity a way of life, and then cultivating and promoting empathy. Now, I want to get to you, Leslie, and start with nurturing. How do we create nurturing relationships?
That's a good question. Well, the definition of nurture is to care and encourage the growth and development of. And in this conference for the last 3 days, we've been talking about all of the different problems in education. We've been trying to offer solutions. And I think that when we talk about the importance of a nurturing environment for kids as educators, we know that that's necessary. It's a given. Everybody, wants to offer a nurturing environment. But I'm so thankful to be on the stage with you, because you really have been able to show us through meditation that it's not just something that we talk about. We can't tell teachers to be nurturing. It's something that we have to live. It starts with us. We're talking in this conference about becoming or teaching children to become lifetime learners. And we want to change the world through education, by teaching the next generation to be lifetime learners. Well, the change starts with us. We have to understand that nurture is a way of life, and why do we have to live? Why do we have to walk the walk, talk the talk? Because it's not just in the relationship that we have with kids, but it's also in the relationship that we have with our friends. It's the relationship we have with for me, it's my grandkids, my adult kids, and even my 80-year-old parents. The way of living to be nurturing, it starts with each one of us. And I just want to say the last part of what nurturing is how. And the way that we can exercise the practice of being nurturing is to listen, to take the time, to show grace, and to be honest. And I want to highlight honest, because as I was thinking about what I see in the preschool world with parents is, we understand, that we want to be gentle and we want to be nurturing, but there's a flip side to that I'm seeing in the next generation, and it's okay to be honest. It's okay, an example would be if a child clumsily trips over a chair, the parent will say, "Bad chair," which is, you see that happen. It's
Really?
it's not true. What are we teaching our kids if we're not being honest? And I use that example, as a joke, because it really does happen, but it's a non-offensive way to make the point. Like when we're talking about building a foundation in the neural pathways of our children's brain, we have to be honest about what we're talking about and about accountability. And so I just wanted to kind of, emphasize that, those 3 points. It's truth and grace and time. It takes time. And I loved your exercise of meditation, because it showed us, like, are we willing to take the time to get into that place, to meet people where they are and listen? So I'd like to hear your thoughts about nurturing.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Leslie. In terms of nurturing, I want to look at a little bit deeper to the definition of it. Nurturing to me, it's being 100% present with anybody, child, adult, whoever we are nurturing. And also, yes, listening, but also validating, like showing that I understand you, I hear you, I'm here for you. Not necessarily I agree with you, but I hear you, I understand it. And also with especially children, physical affection is very powerful and very helpful, because they need being touched, being nurtured through, like, caressing a hair or holding a shoulder, and like children need that. Also, playing games, being fun, having fun with children is a very beautiful way of nurturing them. And emotional safety is so important for children. Wherever they are, at school, at home, anywhere, they need emotional safety. They need to feel safe. That's why I wrote my book, Little Fauna is Loved, Safe, and Never Alone. And I wanted to emphasize that children need to learn that world is not that bad a place. There are good people, good intentioned people. So that's another thing. But on the other hand, I believe that while nurturing children, we need to teach them to create their boundaries. Like, what are the boundaries? How can they be assertive while exemplifying it ourselves, while being assertive, while being creating boundaries for ourselves? Children learn the most from example. They don't learn when we tell them what to do, but they learn from watching us. And believe me, they do. They watch us. They watch every adult all the time. I want to share with you a story about my son. When he was 3 or 4 years old, he was playing at the next room, in the next room to us. And me and his father, we were talking about something, and talking about him. And all of a sudden, he came and said, "No, Mom, I didn't do that, or I didn't say that." I was shocked because he wasn't even in the same room as us, but he could hear us. So he's listening. They are listening to us. Mm-hmm. So it's so imperative that we are very careful of what we are saying. Oops, sorry. But also, nurturing is so important because nurtured children at home and school, when they receive nurturing, grow up to be healthy adults, capable, fully functioning adults. Also, we see parents, when we look at parents, nurturing parents are the ones who are warm, affectionate, good at listening, respectful, attend the basic care of their children, and well-being of their children is the most important. But what happens when nurturing is not present? Then children feel neglected, not loved, not appreciated. And that creates an environment where they won't feel enough self-love, self-worth, self-respect. And problems with creating deep and loving long-term relationships happen along the way. So lack of empathy happens, and difficulty trusting others occur. So all in all, the children who are not nurtured by their parents, their caregivers, their educators, they turn out to be people who cannot express themselves properly and positively. So, but nurturing is one thing. And now when we come to positivity, nurturing, making positivity a way of life, I want to ask you about that, Leslie. How important being positive is, and how can we show and teach our children to be positive?
Thank you. Positivity is the practice or tendency to be positive or optimistic in life. Mm-hmm. It's a skill. It's a coping skill. And that's really what I want to highlight. A lot of people tend to view positivity as a woo-woo kind of, thing that you either have or you either are or you aren't. Mm-hmm. And that's not the truth. The truth is that, like you said before, as young children, we are going to adopt and adapt to whatever environment that we're in, whatever environment we're in. And I am so thankful that I was raised in an environment. My mother, I like to call her, she was like being raised by Snow White. You know, she was always singing, and she was an artist, and she played the guitar, you know, and I have such fond memories of having that positive outlook. You know, there was always a solution to look forward to. I was empowered by having a parent with a positive attitude, because having a negative attitude, I see it in kids all the time. They come to school and they're like, I can't do it, and I don't have any hope, and you know, everything's terrible, and the world is against me, and you know, they come with these attitudes, and it's up to us as educators to not only help the child to turn it around. It's a choice of how you want to view, but also to help the parents, because this is something that's kind of a generational thing. It happens because whatever environment we grow up in, that's what we adopt, those skills. Yeah. So going back to the skill of having positivity, the way that we equip our children with that is through practice. And we can simply offer them opportunities to, you know, try things, and then support them in a nurturing environment with encouragement. So it's like scaffolding. We meet them where they are, we listen, we give them we build the trust. They have to trust us, and when they trust us, we can show them how to navigate through their environment. And what we say at the preschool is, it's a choice. Do you want to have fun, or do you want to have problems? And pretty soon, when they are given that opportunity to exercise their own free will, to choose positivity, they will always choose positivity if that is a more inviting option than to choose negativity. Now, the flip side of that, and what parents should be aware of, is if they're getting lots of attention for a negative response, they're going to choose negativity. I mean, it's just kind of simple. You know, you can either give them lots of attention for being positive and for choosing to be optimistic and cultivate that and give them lots of praise, or you can, you know, do it the opposite way. But whatever you pay attention to, that's what you're going to grow.
Yes.
So
true.
That's my perspective on positivity.
Yes. It's positivity is about this glass. Well, is it half empty or is it half full? Why, when even talking to a child, if we ask, what do you see here, half full or half empty? And why? Like, because when my son used to come from school being bullied and being really sad, I would always ask him, okay, there has been bad things happened. I hear you, I understand you. But tell me what good things happened today. It cannot always be all bad or all good, but there's always a good in everything. What is the gift? Like, we look at the pandemic. So many gifts came with the pandemic. I know it has been a really hard time for all of us, but when we look at something from an objective perspective, we can always see bad and good. And when we choose to focus on good sides, good parts of everything, well, we grow. That's how we grow. And when we do that, and when we exemplify that to our children, then they follow. They do the same. Positivity is, I see there are three aspects of positivity. One of them is positive thinking. It's like transforming negative thoughts into positive ones. And noticing positive aspects of situations, like I said, and challenging pessimistic thoughts. And the other one, the second one, is positive emotions, like happiness, enthusiasm, contentment, joy, emphasizing all these in everything. And the third one is positive behaviors, like random acts of kindness, like doing those, or creating a healthy lifestyle, and thinking and wishing and taking part in good things for the world. Why positivity? Because it's a very powerful coping tool, as you said, and it fosters resilience in everybody, helps manage disappointments for children, for example, not making a sports team, not getting a rejection from a school that they applied, then failing a test. Then when they realize and understand and experiment with being positive, it becomes easier to get through these failures, because nothing is failure at the end of the day.
Everything is a learning process.
Absolutely.
And just to support what you're saying, I'd like to add that when you start with a nurturing environment, and you allow, like I said, it's the time. So you allow the process of discovery. Yes, you failed, but what we always say is, that's okay, you'll learn, and that's positivity. You're not saying you should never fail. You're not saying you should never feel sad or bad or any of those emotions. You're saying, I'm here with you.
Yes.
I'm meeting you where you are, and I've got you as we go through this together. And it's not black or white. Positivity is not black or white. It's not always looking, it's not discounting the truth.
Exactly. When I'm so positivity, they feel like, oh, you're a Pollyanna. Life is not like that. Yeah, I understand that, because they don't see it from this perspective.
Right.
Positivity is not rejecting what is negative, what is going on. It's just looking at everything from a different perspective.
It's a choice.
It's a choice, exactly. And in terms of teaching children anything, I love gamification, because they love games, right? They are children. So I came up with this exercise, name it, tame it.
I love that.
So I want to explain it to you. Whenever a child feels a negative feeling, you can tell they are sad or mad and anxious. Whenever you help them label that feeling, right then and there, that emotion stops from festering. So as soon as you name a feeling, you stop it from growing. So when you name it, you tame it. And also, there's another exercise that I love, that children, like it could be implemented with children, is that, okay, let's see, what is your feeling? Sadness. Okay, let's put it on our list of emotions. When an event happens, good or bad, have them describe their emotions and add it to the list. Create an emotions list. And whenever something else happens, go back to that list. Okay, do we have that emotion on our list? Yes, we do. Or oh, we don't have it. Let's add it. So when they become more and more understanding their emotions, then they can more easily navigate their feelings and their actions. Also, I really love the exercise of creating vision boards with children. It gives them idea of future is bright. In future, I will have this, and that. And so look forward to the future with a much more positive outlook. So
Can I
yes, of course.
springboard off of what you're saying?
Of course.
Okay, so I would just, as you know, my calling in life is to change the way we do preschool. And I just feel so honored and so blessed to, be paired with you to be able to talk about these really important topics of nurturing and of positivity and of empathy. And if you think about it, these are not things that we're putting into our education system. They're not.
Yes.
And I would just like to state for the record that they need to be in here because look at what our junior hires are facing right now. They've got social anxiety. They don't understand their own emotions. They're not taught. Nobody's teaching these kids to name it and tame it. But what if we could build it into the foundation of the neural pathway of the children's brain from preschool so that they're equipped and empowered and they have positivity and they understand how to be a lifetime learner. I mean, that would fulfill my calling right there.
Yes. That's so true. Thank you. And so let's get to empathy then. Cultivating and promoting empathy. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, I like to, start off with the definition, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. And so, empathy, I think everybody agrees that it's important to have empathy. But I think that, what people don't understand is how to do it. And so I did a little bit of research before coming on stage to talk about empathy. And I was listening to Brene Brown. And I was, kind of trying to think of the best way to implement this exercise of empathy. And I think that where we as adults miss the mark is that we're too busy and we're too focused on our own agenda to really take the time to listen and to understand and to just be present. And I have a story that it's a little bit hard for me to share. It was an experience that I had with my then 16-year-old son when he was a teenager. He's now 23 and doing well. But he went through a really difficult teenage couple of years where he was severely depressed. He's had a long time battle with anxiety and depression. And he was in a state where he was so low that, he just didn't want to live anymore. And so as I sat by his bedside, because he just couldn't even get out of bed, he said, "Mom, just put me out of my misery and just smother me or do something." And so meeting him where he was as, somebody who I understand empathy. I don't want to tell him, I don't want to say something like, "Oh, it could be better." It could be worse. I don't want to discount how he feels. I want to live in the moment
Or
with
say
him.
it's gonna pass.
Or everything will be better tomorrow. It's a new day. I don't want to say something that's going to try to make him feel more pressure.
Yes.
He was where he was, and I had to meet him where he was. And so I very gingerly took the pillow and I put it over his face. And then I lifted it up to see his it relieved the tension, because he knew that as much as he trusted that I was never going to do something like that, he knew that I was there with him. And I wasn't trying to change where he was at. I was just listening and I was experiencing. And when you exercise that type of a relationship with the people that you are entrusted to educate, hopefully we don't have to, deal with that type of circumstance in our school classrooms, but it gives us a good model to live by. You know, whatever that child is battling with, whether it's because they didn't have the right shoes today, or whether they, didn't get the iPad. You know, and we may think, well, they shouldn't be having that anyway. You know, we have to understand that this is a real struggle for them, and we have to listen, and we can't discount the importance that it means to them.
Yes. Though, thank you so much for sharing this
He
very
gave me
personal,
permission, by the way.
yes, personal story. But I remember you when you first shared it with me. You said that. You said one more thing. You said that you lied down next to him and you stayed with him.
I did.
As long as it took.
As long as it took.
And that's the more than what you said or did.
Yeah.
This was the being present and
Right.
being there for him.
Right.
So yeah, it's a very heartwarming story, and I'm so glad your son is doing wonderfully
well.
now.
Yeah.
And in my case, the empathy, yes, it is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Similar to validation, acknowledging a feeling that the child is having. And when your child comes home, let's say, from school and says, everyone was ignoring him. Empathy says, that sounds like a really tough day. You must have felt really sad. So what are we doing here? We are just labeling the
Naming
emotion.
it and taming
Naming it so that we can tame it. And most of the time, people aren't looking for solutions in those moments. They are looking to feel heard, to feel accepted and understood. So that's what we are giving to the child at that moment. And when we exercise empathy, we make the child feel loved, accepted, valued, and cared for. And we are building a sense of security and a stronger relationship with the child. And we cultivate tolerance and acceptance of others. We are not saying, oh, who is that bad guy or bad child that made you feel sad or bad? We are not saying that. We are not blaming anybody. We are not judging. We are just validating what is happening. And it also promotes good mental health, empathy, and social harmony, and also reduces the potential of bullying from happening. How can we introduce children to empathy? Again, I'm all for gamification, and most of the times children love to hear stories, so we can tell them stories about situations where empathy is practiced, or we can read them books about that. But also we can do this. We can turn around and look at ourselves. How empathetic am I? How am I expressing empathy? How am I being an example? So that's the main thing. Like, as parents, teachers, educators, children are looking up to us. So we need to be really, really careful with knowing our values and living with our values, like living by the values like integrity, friendship, love, compassion, kindness. These are the things that we need to express and practice so that our children do the same. And there's an example that I want to share. Like pinpointing emotions with words in real time is also a great way to familiarize children with empathy. Let's say Ben pushed Sarah. we tell Ben, Sarah looks hurt. Let's go check on her. And we go to Sarah. Sarah, were you sad when you were pushed? And also tell the other children, look, Sarah is sad because Ben pushed her. How can we make her feel better and make this right? And tell Ben, let's apologize from Sarah because she was sad when you pushed her. So we are not blaming Ben or shaming Sarah. We are just stating the obvious, what happened, and we are just inviting them to take action about what happened. Gamification. As I said, telling stories. Name it, tame it. Make the emotionless game. Give them responsibility. Have them take care of a plant or an animal so that they learn to practice empathy. And acknowledging and rewarding the efforts to be more positive and empathetic, and encouraging them to be vulnerable and to share their own stories. So those are my additions on empathy. Do you have anything else, or can we go to the next one?
Yep. Well, I think that
Yes.
to springboard on
Yes.
how do we make a difference in the lives of those young growing minds. And I've learned so much at this conference. It's been such a pleasure to talk to, get to know, and hear the different perspectives of all of the leaders in education. It's truly been a great opportunity, and I think the takeaway from this experience is that we need to have systems in order to consistently meet the challenge of setting people up for success, to be a lifetime learner, to have positivity and empathy, and all of the things that we want as educators. And so I love all of your examples of how to teach children this. And what over the last 20 years, what I've experienced as I train teachers and I train parents is that it's tough to communicate to every single person who's teaching those skills of how to be a great teacher. And so there's one in particular tool that I just want to shout from the rooftops. I tell every parent that I come in contact, I tell every teacher that I come in contact with, use this system. It is life-changing, and we all should be doing it. And so I like to give credit to the developer of Friendship Fixer International. It's a conflict resolution system that is built to sign language, and it goes like this. First, go to your friend, remain calm, explain what's broken, investigate who's responsible, extend an apology, need to ask forgiveness, and do forgive freely. And I love that it has the 6 steps, and they're so simple. We can follow them. But how many parents or how many people, grown-ups, do you know that won't forgive, do forgive freely, who won't apologize? I'm so sorry, that was not my intention. But where do we learn that? We learn it from the beginning. If we learn it from the beginning, and I see even 2s and 3s, 3-year-olds who are like, I am not going to say I'm sorry. You know, they do not want to apologize. And there's a lot of adults who say, well, I'm not going to make my child apologize because it's not how they really feel. But I'm going to disagree with when you are setting up children for success in life. You have to teach them the skill. Do the actions, the feelings will follow. But do what's right. do what's good. It's right. If I do wrong to you, it's the right thing. And I might not feel like doing it, but if I practice it when I'm 2 and 3, it's not going to be that hard it's going to dawn on me, oh, you know what? I did grab that toy from my friend. And I'm learning that it's not okay to grab toys. I'm learning that I should smile and say, may I have it, please? And when we teach our children in that fashion, we're truly setting them up for success because they are learning that it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to become a lifetime learner, but there has to be framework. There has to be a time. There has to be time to learn. There has to be truth. And we have to give them tools like Friendship Fixer. And so I'm really happy to be able to share this really to anybody who's listening today.
It's amazing. I love it. And actually, everybody should be using that method.
Exactly.
Like not only children, especially adults too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to meditation. Remember we meditated at the beginning?
Yeah.
Meditation, as an advocate and teacher of meditation, meditation changes our brain chemistry. And it's like, as you can see on the screen, there are multiple researches done about it. And according to the brain imaging study by researchers at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston and the University of Massachusetts Medical School in Worcester, they found out that people who meditate regularly every day for a specific time, let's say 30 days or more, their brain MRIs show change in their brain. Mm-hmm. So what we do by meditating is we are fortifying the right side of our brain. We, especially in more civilized countries, we are living all our lives using our left brain. But when you lose your left brain all the time, the equilibrium in your brain like switches in a way that is like the gap grows and grows and grows, so we lose our emotions. Right side of the brain is so important for leaders with higher EQ, emotional intelligence, leaders for creating good teams, happy environments at home and at work and at school. So meditation is so vital, and it's free, and it's available to everybody. So I really want to express the utmost importance of meditation. And if you are educators, if you are teachers, I implore you to please start your day with your students with at least 5 minutes of meditation. There are apps that you can play, like just Insight Timer is an app. I'm a teacher on that app. It's free. There are thousands of meditations there. Just play one of them, 3 minutes, 5 minute meditation every morning. You will see a huge difference starting to happen on children's activities, emotions, and actions, reactions, and responses. So I implore you, please use meditation. And at the end of the, do you have anything else to share?
Yeah, go ahead and go to the next slide, and then
Yes.
I can wrap it up.
Yes.
Because I would like to say that in supporting what you're saying, what we offer to support that in the education world is a time and a place for everything and skills training. Mm-hmm. And so as we are looking at how do we teach children to have that balanced life in every area, how do we grow a balanced brain, is mind, body, spirit, and community. Yeah. And you really can't leave out any, yes. To support your point about balanced brain development, you can't leave out I mean, we're very focused on academics and,
Yes.
and, you know, getting them to where they need to be academically. But I always tell parents, you know, when you're talking about the foundation of brain development, academics is really not what should be leading your curriculum. What should be leading is a balance in social skills, in conflict resolution, in physical development. Our bodies play just as much of a part in brain development, and teaching the children how to move their bodies and keeping it as a foundational part of growth and development. We can't discount that. I mean, we take PE out of preschool because we think it's not important. It's so important.
Yes, it is.
And our heart, you know, our heart is where we live, and we want to grow a loving child who is in touch with their own self. And we want to equip them with tools that empower them and help them to grow their self-identity for who God made them to be. Not who we want them to be, but who they were created. And then, of course, to become a lifetime learner is the goal.
Yes.
And so I think that there's parts in meditation plays a great part in that, understanding how to manage and control your body.
I want to ask one short question. Would anybody like to share what they felt or thought during the meditation that we did at the beginning? Anybody?
Well, I'd like to say
Okay.
I felt peace.
Great. Anybody else?
Oh,
You stole the word that I was thinking. I just briefly, just a moment of peace.
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 That's why I wanted you to experience it, because when you start your day with a meditation, you set the tone for the rest of the day. When you start with peace, it grows and follows. So it's the same for our children. Please use meditation. Thank you.
Thank you.